saddle up the creek with no paddle. No aliens to battle where we want to go. Without being pompous, we don't need map or compass. We're launching cattywampus on our new travel show. Space Croutons,
only go with us.
Space Croutons,
on our podcast bus.
Space Croutons, we see you recognize. And in space, no one can hear you scream. Loopy from our earworm, space shanty theme. So when we leave the station for each time or space vacation, you won't wanna miss it. If you do, well, you can kiss it. Space Croutons,
Season 2.0.
Space Croutons brings new worlds to know. Space Croutons,
Subatomic afterglow.
as we cruise the Milky Way by Tractor B. And the quardacs are just a distant dream. And our brains have turned to sour cream. Loopy from our earworm, space shanty theme. Space Croutons. With Neil Diamond, Lucy in the sky. I love Neil Diamond, Lucy in the sky. No, not Neil Diamond. Space Croutons. With Neil Diamond.
Hello, Space Croutonians, one and all. Once again, we are on the road, live and in living color, even though you can't see us, for another travelogue episode of Space Croutons 2.0. Sally, as always, is here with me for this adventure. Today's trip, not through a portal, but it is another visit to our past. We're headed to meet with Aiden. You probably remember him from last season. He had some pretty interesting experiences, and I'm anxious to see what he's been up to lately. Sally, you have any word from Aiden yet?
Curdy, there isn't anything yet, but do you really expect him to communicate with you via normal channels? Isn't he basically in hiding? I seem to think that if he doesn't want to be found, why would he communicate in obvious ways?
Well, Sally, you're probably right, but given the circumstances, he may try any number of ways to communicate, and I know he wants to get his story to us. He'll find a way. Like my daddy used to say, you can bet the farm on it, but if you do, don't count your chickens until the cows come home.
Curdy, after searching your family records, there's no reference anywhere to a farm. Which farm was your father referring to?
Not important now, Sally. Just keep scanning for any word from Aiden. While we're waiting, we'll just pull over at this gas station and top off the tank while we go to this commercial from one of our sponsors.
Mr. Cow.
Yes?
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. I always end up fighting. Ask Mr. Fox, for he's much cleverer than I.
Mr. Fox, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Why don't you ask Mr. Turtle, for he's been around a lot longer than I. Me? I bite.
Mr. Turtle, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Why, you never made it without biting. Ask Mr. Owl, for he is the wisest of us all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A good question. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. 3.
If there's anything I can't stand, it's a smart owl.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Well, we'll just have to follow the science on that one, won't we, Sally?
I'm not sure I understand your reference, but I think you'll recognize our visitor.
That's fine, Sally. Who's our visitor?
It's Aiden.
Aiden? Here? Well, how's that possible? I thought he was in an undisclosed location.
Hello, Curdy. It's good to see you again.
Aiden! Well, I'd be less than truthful if I said that I expected to see you again in person, but as my daddy used to say, well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit.
What?
Never mind that now. It's great to see you again. How'd you find us?
That's an interesting story. If you have a few minutes, I believe Brittney and Dat will be joining us too.
Brittney and Dat? Where are they?
Let's just say that they're in transit. Well, let me start at the beginning. Do you remember some time ago when Brittney and I came to you after I disappeared and Brittney searched high and low for me?
I remember that, Aiden. I do. I traveled to Alaska to help her look. But you were nowhere to be found.
But I came back. Much the same way as I disappeared, I used the quardacs and the powers they possess to travel through dimensions.
Yeah, but we don't have the objects anymore.
Not physically.
What difference does that make?
As it turns out, not too much. At least, not for what we've been able to do.
And what's that?
Travel.
Tell me more.
We don't have the objects, but we've had them in our possession. We don't know where they are, but we know where they've been.
Curdy, Brittney is here.
Let her in, Sally. Brittney, I'm glad you're here. Sit down.
Dad's on his way. Shouldn't be too long now. Hey, Curdy. Aiden, did you hear me? Dad should be along soon.
Thanks, Brittney.
Aiden, you were just about to tell me something. Something to do with the objects.
Yes, the objects. Even though we don't have them, we have had them. We've held them on multiple occasions, and we found that even now, without them, we're still able to do many of the things that we accidentally did back when we had them.
Like what?
We use them to travel.
Travel? To where?
Not just where.
No.
Also when.
When?
We traveled interdimensionally.
Well, how did you accomplish that?
The best we can ascertain is that there's a residue left behind by the objects, and it acts in much the same way as the object itself.
The residues left on the surfaces that the quardac has come in contact to. Even the physical area is affected.
Curdy, Dad is here as well. How many more do we expect? We're running out of chairs.
Sally, there's nobody else after Dat.
Thank you, Aiden.
Dad, come on in. Take a seat. I think we have a quorum now.
Everything okay, Dad?
All good. No surprises.
Okay, now will somebody tell me where you guys were? And how did you find us?
We followed you. Well, more precisely, we followed the jewel that you had. The jewel left its residue on you, Curdy.
We went back.
Back where?
To the portals.
Portals?
The portal complex. We call it the station. From there, you can get anywhere. And anytime.
Anywhere?
Yes.
Anytime?
That's right, Curdy.
But how?
There's some rules you have to follow. We think that you've had to have an object in your possession in the past. And we now know that objects work together, combine powers, and that enables the person to travel through a portal to the station.
Where is the portal?
The power is stronger at a location where the quardac has spent a significant amount of time. Whether it's in an apartment, a car,
or Van Helsing?
That's right.
And there's something else, Curdy. There's another thing that affects the strength.
What's that?
The best we can determine, and we're still looking into it, but it appears the signal strength of the cell towers affects the residual strength of the quardacs.
What?
That's right, Curdy. The more isolated you are from the civilizations of cell phones, the less receptive the quardac residue is.
Do the quardacs transmit?
Not that we can tell, but
They might be receiving. Curdy, do you remember the mood ring?
Yes, I remember we spoke of it before. You had it when you disappeared.
That's right. But when I found myself in the station, as we call it now, I must have lost it there. I know I was wearing it when I first entered the station, but it was nowhere to be found when Brittney found me earlier, or later, or when I made my way back through the portal to Brittney.
Right, Curdy. He didn't have the mood ring when he returned.
So I went back after it. I searched everywhere, but I couldn't find it. But in my searching, I was able to find doors that led back to other quardacs.
Anywhere.
Or to where other quardacs have been.
Anytime.
And if they're listening...
Who's talking?
And that's what we're going to find out.
everything leaves a trail.
We just have to follow it.
What's the next move?
We'll keep you informed. You'll hear from us. Maybe not in a conventional way, but we'll get the word to you. We want you to keep us in the loop as well. I'm sure you'll be hearing from others, and we're piecing this together one bit at a time.
It reaches much farther than any one of us imagined.
We need to go, guys. We need to talk to someone soon.
Who?
We'll be in touch.
Goodbye for now, Curdy. We'll see you again soon.
Be careful, Curdy. If we can find you, they can too.
Well, Sally, that was certainly an interesting chat we had today. But as my daddy used to say, if everything is coming your way, you're in the wrong line.
I'm not sure if that has any relevance to anything we've discussed today, but in the interest of time, I'll hold my questions.
Well, never mind that now, Sally. We've got to get moving again. Is Van Helsing ready to go?
We have a call on the line, Curdy, and I think you'll want to take it. The voice is strangely familiar.
Okay, Sally, one call. But then we have to get moving. Hello, caller. What did you think about our guests today?
Hello, Curdy. You had a very interesting group of guests today. But I wanted to give you a bit of advice.
Well, who is this?
Oh, I think you know who this is. But listen to me now. I'm watching you, I'm watching your friends, and I'm patiently waiting.
Waiting? Waiting for what?
Well, let me put it like this. Like my daddy used to say, he's about as useful as a trapdoor on a canoe.
Hello? Hello? Sally?
The caller has dropped Curdy.
Well, let's go, Sally. Until next time, Space Croutonians, this is Curdy Clammerwood leaving you for the moment. Take a listen to another blast from the past as we head on down the road.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.
My name is Talkie Tina, and I think I could even hate you.
A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind.
Well, that was an unplanned treat. We'd better just sign off for now. Be well, my friends, until our next story time.
We're back in the saddle up the creek with no paddle. No aliens to battle where we want to go. Without being pompous, we don't need map or compass. We're launching cattywampus on our new travel show. Space Croutons,
Only go with us.
Space Croutons,
on our podcast bus.
Space Croutons, we see your retinas, and in space no one can hear you scream. Loopy from our earworm, space shanty theme. So when we leave station for each time or space vacation. You won't wanna miss it. If you do, well, you can kiss it. Space Croutons,
Season 2.0.
Space Croutons, strange new worlds to know. Space Croutons,
Subatomic afterglow.
as we cruise the Milky Way by Tractor B. And the quardacs are just a distant dream. And our brains have turned to sour cream. Loopy from our earworms, space shanty feet. Space Croutons.
With Neil Diamond, Lucy in the Sky. I love Neil Diamond, Lucy in.
When do you think they'll figure out who's really in control here? To paraphrase the immortal words of John Cleese, stay tuned for something completely different.
Space Croutons is a work of original fiction. Similarities to persons, situations, or events, real or fictional, is coincidental and unintentional. Created and written by Jerry, Jace, John, Della, and Jeff Goodson. Episode story by John. Original music and production by Jeff, Della, Jerry, and John. Featuring the voice talents of Jeff, Jared, Brittney, John, and Sally. Entire work copyright by 2021 by Jeff, John, Jerry, Della, and Jace Goodson. This has been a Good Witch audio production.